What's up, guys? We're gonna Bro Beats. Today I'm gonna be showing you guys a new method to level your beats. If you guys haven't subbed already, or turned on, you should do so because it'll help it a lot. Let's hop right into it. So I'm not gonna waste any time. There is a link in the description that I suggest you do, or if you followed along in the last video, you should have your own beat. What we're gonna do is level it together. I'm using this little new method. Okay, so if you use like Ableton or something, here's the FLP for FL users. If you use Ableton or Logic or whatever, here are the WAV files. And if you want to follow the method exactly, because you do need the Midi for it, here's the Midi for you. All right, everything down here is in here. All right, so you can go and cop that, download it, is in the description or in the comment section. All right, so with that being said, let's just go ahead and get started leveling this. All right, so keep in mind, it's going to be more of a rule breaking type of video. I usually do 2 a year, one more technical and one like this where I kind of show you the way I do it. All right, so I'm gonna just play it real quick so you can hear what it sounds like now. All right, so we're gonna clean this up. So what the method is actually using the velocity to actually level your stuff. All right, now there's an exception when it comes to the melodies. You don't really want to do that because say if you have a piano and you mess with the velocity, it's going to alter the way the melody actually sounds. So I don't touch it on the melodies. Now basses, you can kind of go back and forth between this knob and the velocity, but I usually just do it with the velocity. Okay, so let's start with our synth bass and our kick. Now our kick should already be at 100. Now the reason I put my kick at 100 is because I want this to be the loudest and I want it to have a lot of punch. So I want this the loudest in my mix. All right, now not every sound sounds good at 100%. Okay. So keep that in mind. So with my bass, right, you probably like, oh, let's crank it up all the way up. No. All right. Right. You see, it's not sounding that good. So we want to turn this down. And the goal here is just to get it to where you like it. And I think that's a decent volume. Okay. And you can also turn it down here, but I'm just strictly stay with the velocity. So now let's do our 808. Okay. And we want that punch, right? And a lot of people, what they do is they say, oh, I want a lot of punch, so I'm gonna put everything up at 100%. No, you want a good dynamic between your kick and 808. So I'm gonna turn this down a lot. Okay, and I think that's good. And you can still adjust, but I'm just kind of going through it with you. All right, so now what we want to do is add our snare. Again, we don't want it all the way max, okay? All right, we want a good balance. So I'm gonna go a little bit lower so we can kind of find a mid ground. Okay, I like the last one. Okay, that's good. So now let's get into these melodies. So with the melody, you kind of want it to be at the same volume as your synth bass, right? So the way to do that is I like to, and I'm gonna probably edit it so you can zoom on it, but I kind of go to an extreme. I go to where it's really, really low until it's really, really loud. Let's just do one at a time. So you can tell that somewhere around here is like where it should be. I like that. Okay. Move on to the next one. Same thing, an extreme. And then we keep going back and forth until we find like a mid ground. And then we fine tune it. Okay, and I like that dynamic. Now let's do our last counter melody here. Okay, I like that. So now let's move on to the rest of our drums, and I could just switch this to the 808. I actually might turn this 808 up just a little bit. Okay, I like that a little bit better. So moving on to these. Now let's keep going. Now the hi-hats, you want to copy everything, or not copy, but Control A, highlight everything, and then you can kind of pull it up, because the velocity matters a lot on the hi-hats too. So I'm just trying to find a good volume for this. Okay, I think that's good. Just keep going. All right, and then these I usually put low anyway, because I kind of want them, I don't want them to be heard but felt, I guess. Right, you can see it's kind of like helping emphasize that snare. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there and let's keep moving on. We don't gotta waste any more time. Let's see with this one. Okay, very subtle. And then the last one, we're gonna do our cymbal and we're gonna move on to EQing. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to EQing now, since we have it leveled. All right, and that's all you really need in that last part, is just to mess with the velocity, make sure everything is leveled there, and you'll be good to go, and you can get it to sound pretty clean, right? And this is without the soft clipper. Right, and then all you need to do is just put that soft clipper on, put this at 79%. If you want it to be a little bit more transparent, you could turn this knob up a bit, but I just like to keep it around 3. So. All right, now this part is gonna go a little bit more in depth on just kind of tightening things up. And I'm not gonna do a lot, because I don't wanna put out the idea that you have to have a lot of plugins, you have to have a lot of EQs on, right? Just gonna do minimal things. And keep in mind, we have not touched any of these faders besides on the melodies, right? So I'm gonna actually play with the synth bass. So now what we can do is EQ, and I'm gonna just solo these, and I'm gonna use this. So how I'm gonna use this is I'm gonna pull this middle knob up, and I'm gonna pull it to the extreme and just find a frequency I don't like and then pull it down. That's pretty much how we're gonna EQ it. So I don't like those frequencies, so I'm gonna kind of pull this down, and I'm gonna do it just gently, not too much, and then we could take out a little bit of that bass. All right, we could pan this 10% to the left. Doesn't need to be exact, but I'm gonna make it exact. Now let's do this one, same thing. All right, take that one out. Same thing, take some of this bass out. All right, I think that's pretty decent. Now this sound here, we could just do something like this. And I'm actually turning this down just a little bit. All right, I'm gonna pan this to the left. All right, and that's just a little bit of EQing, okay? So now the next step, what we could do is actually work real quick. Let's just put this kick in mono. And if you want to, you could put your bass in mono. I'm gonna do it here because of the beat, the type of beat I'm making, but if it was a trap beat, I would probably not put it in mono. All right. All right, now the last thing here, what we could do is put all these in a bus. All right, have it set up here. So you want to hold control, click and drag, right click on the bus, track routing, and click the second one. And now everything should be routed here. So I'm gonna mute these and then solo these. Now what we could do is load up a limiter, okay? And then what I would do is load up a transient processor. And what it's gonna do is kind of like shorten the decay of the sound. If we pull this, and I'm gonna pull this one down. Right? Or if we put it this way, it'll kind of increase the sustain. So I like to clean them up a bit by putting it this way, but I'm not sure if everyone has a transient processor, so I'm not gonna use that. But I know all y'all should have at least a limiter in your DAW. So what we want to do is take this ceiling and pretty much put it to the highest peak for our drums to control it. So right here, we want to pull this like there. All right, so it won't go above that sound. So now we could do this with our 808s and our synth bass. And this is just to control. So anything that you want to control, you could do this on. Just turn this off. Turn this off. And then let's solo these. Right, you can see how like it's like going up and down so much. You want to control that. So I'm gonna maybe put it right here. All right, and you could kind of lay off a little bit if you want, but I'm gonna just keep it to the extreme like that. Now our 808. And again, I'm saying this is extra. You don't need to do this part. Okay, you could stop at the first part of the video and be good. So this one, same thing. All right, now with this, I would probably do it at this little peak. And let me make this a lot larger. So like you see this little peak. So I would kind of go maybe like right here. I wouldn't go up here, maybe a little into it like that, just so you can kind of see. Just to control everything. And pretty much that's all we need to do. To turn on our clipper if you want. I'm gonna make this a little bit more transparent. Something like that. All right, and again, remember, this is extra. You don't need to do this. All right, and then we have our beat. Right, and if you want to add or turn up anything, again, don't feel like, oh, can't do that. No, do whatever else you want to do. I'm just trying to make this as simple as possible because I want people to realize leveling is all you need to do to get it to sound good and punchy and stuff, right? And then you start adding plugins and you start adding EQs. All right, so that's it for this video. Hopefully it's helpful. Make sure you guys like and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.